Dead man's hand. The autumn wind whispered through Rattlesnake Gulch like a dying man's last confession, carrying with it the acrid smell of gunsmoke and broken promises. Marshal Wade, iron-eyed Cooper, hadn't slept right in 3 years, not since his brother Tom's body was found face down in Widow's Creek, 6 bullets in his back and his badge missing. The official story was that Tom died tracking the notorious McGraw gang. But Wade knew better. His brother had been onto something bigger, something that made powerful men nervous. Before his death, Tom had sent Wade a cryptic letter mentioning irregularities at the Silver Peak Mining Company and a name, Katherine Blackwood. Katherine was the supposedly grieving widow of mining magnate James Blackwood, who'd vanished during a routine inspection of his mine 6 months before Tom's murder. The timing wasn't lost on Wade. Neither was the fact that Katherine was now petitioning the territorial court to have James declared legally dead, which would give her control of the largest silver mining operation this side of the Rockies. "Ain't natural," muttered Wade's deputy, a young buck named Charlie 2 times. "Way I hear it, she ain't shed a single tear since Blackwood went missing." Wade studied the wanted posters on his office wall, weathered and yellow as old bones. "Grief shows itself different ways, Charlie. Sometimes it wears black and carries a handkerchief. Sometimes it carries a gun." The investigation led Wade down a rabbit hole darker than any mine shaft. Every time he got close to the truth, another witness turned up dead or disappeared like morning dew. The McGraw gang, it seemed, had been busy that year, but Wade noticed they only hit mines competing with Silver Peak. Katherine Blackwood proved more enigmatic than the Sphinx. Her emerald eyes held secrets like a poker player holds aces, and her smile was sharp as a rattler's fang. "My husband was a good man, Marshal," she'd say, voice smooth as aged whiskey. "I just want closure." But Wade had found something interesting. Before his disappearance, James Blackwood had discovered his mines were playing out. Silver Peak was nearly worthless, unless someone knew about the gold seam Tom had found evidence of, running right through Blackwood property. A seam that would only be accessible through adjacent properties Katherine was now buying up for pennies on the dollar. The pieces fell together like a hangman's trap door. James hadn't disappeared, he'd been murdered, just like Tom. Katherine and her real partner, the mine's chief engineer Joel Drake, had orchestrated everything. With James declared dead, Katherine would own it all, and no one would look twice at new tunnels being dug once Drake discovered the gold seam. Wade gathered his evidence meticulously, building his case like a carpenter builds a coffin, exact and unforgiving. But on the day he moved to make arrests, Katherine Blackwood disappeared. All they found was a letter addressed to Wade. "You're as stubborn as your brother, Marshal." He wouldn't take the money either. Wade mounted up, ready to pursue. But Charlie burst in, face white as a ghost. "Marshal, they found James Blackwood." "Dead?" "No, sir, alive. In a Mexican prison, suffering from amnesia. Says he was robbed and beaten on his inspection trip. Just recovered his memories." Wade felt the floor tilt beneath him. If James was alive. He raced to the bank, where he found Katherine's safety deposit box empty except for a single playing card, the ace of spades, known as the dead man's hand. On the back, in flowing script, "Better luck next time, lawman." Some mysteries deserve to stay buried. Joel Drake's body was discovered that evening in his office, a suicide note confessing to everything, the murders, the scheme, all of it. But Wade noticed the ink was still wet. Somewhere out there, Katherine Blackwood was riding free, wealthy from a fortune in stolen Silver Peak bonds she'd emptied from the bank that morning. She'd played them all, her husband, Drake, even Wade himself. The case was closed, but the truth, like fool's gold, wasn't what it appeared to be. Wade pinned the ace of spades to his wall, next to Tom's old badge. Some said he'd failed, letting Katherine escape. But Wade knew better. This game wasn't over, it was just moving to a different table. The autumn wind still whispers through Rattlesnake Gulch, carrying secrets like playing cards in a crooked dealer's sleeve. And somewhere, a woman with emerald eyes deals another hand in a game that never truly ends. If you are enjoying Adventures in the Old West channel, hit the subscribe button for future post.